Hello and welcome to the big picture. It's over 48 hours since the general budget was presented by Finance Minister Arun Jaitley. Now, with the benefit of time, the details about the implications of it is becoming clearer. One of the areas which has been analyzed in detail by various analysts and organizations is the social sector. The allocations to this sector coming under various ministries have been seen as inadequate or even much less than in the last year. For instance, the ICDS program, nutrition program for mothers, or midday meal program, or even the food security program under the National Food Security Act, apart from Manrega. It has to be noted here that with an unprecedented 10% increase in devolutions to the states of the total tax revenues as recommended by the 14th Finance Commission, some of the lesser allocations is said to be because it will be covered by the higher share in taxes to the states. However, critics counter it, saying even after higher allocations, the share will be inadequate. We will discuss today the implications of the general budgetary allocations to the social sector and what impact it will have on some of the major schemes. To discuss this, I have with me Mohan Guruswamy, economist and policy analyst, Biraj Patnaik, right to food activist, Professor Praveen, Center for Economic Studies and Planning, JNU, and K. Badarinath, editor, policy, Financial Chronicle. Welcome to all of you. Mohan, if you remember last week when we were sitting here and discussing what kind of budget can we expect and things like that, you had said that there has to be some big bang thing has to take place, and this is the last chance. In fact, you and Badarinath, both of you are saying this is the last chance that we should see some kind of a major change in the way the budget's prepared. Do you see that?
No. I think it's like more like a Chinese string cracker, going pat, 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 and sputtering away, There is a little noise and lots of smoke, little noise and very little light, But there are some direct, let's be clear about the budget. 95–96% of the budget comes preset. Your interest rate commitment is preset, your defense commitment is preset, your salaries and pays are preset, ways and means are preset, plan commitments are preset. Very little is available to play around, unless you make a directional change. Like, 1991, industrial licensing policy was scrapped. But this government came with the advantage of a certain bonus. The oil commitment gives it a bonus of about $50 billion.
30,000 crores of rupees. That is the subsidies which are less. 60,000 crores last year, 30,000 crores this year.
So it's a bonus. It's a bonus, because it also relieves pressure on the trade deficit and on the current account deficit.
Right.
So so they have, I think, to that extent, they've resisted the temptation on being populist and say, okay, we'll reduce food prices as the general demand is. But also devolution has taken place, financial devolution order.
I was coming to that, Mohan. Sorry.
Yeah, so
the finance commission devolution. No, my question to you is this. Finance commission devolution, more money to the states. This is supposed to be the theme of this budget. So now the questions are being raised because we are discussing social sector today.
It is not the theme of the budget. It is one of the realities, and it's only a small part. Still, only 10% goes. Okay?
Extra 10%.
Yeah, extra 10% goes. Now, the fact is that some of that money has been transferred into new avenues. For instance, the Mudra Bank. I think it's a very good initiative. I approve of it strongly. Because today, small businessmen and artisans can't go anywhere for money. There's 20,000 crores going there. 30,000 crores going for small irrigation. That at the individual and at the local level.
We'll discuss these things.
Also has to be considered part of social.
My straight question to you is this. Do you see a vision as far as the social sector programs are concerned, a long-term vision, a 5-year vision?
I think there's a realization that government delivery system is woefully inadequate, highly corrupt, and the money gets looted. And there is a bureaucratic, political vested interest in money going to, in quotes, social sector, where there is no accountability. Money just fizzles out. Now, and there are, so even Manrega, for instance, I think the government has spoken about linking it with physical targets. And there is 5,000 crores additional coming to it. But just putting money and, and saying that, it'll go down to people. It doesn't go down to people. We've seen the effects of this for the last 50 years. I think that is one little directional change. The realization that government doesn't work too well. No. But whether it's going to be followed by decentralization is where I would have expected the Big Bang. That hasn't happened. That hasn't. It's still centralized state.
So you see that a realization, Biraj, a realization is there. JAM, J-A-M, Jan Dhan Yojana, Aadhaar, and then the mobile thing which they're talking about to improve the delivery systems for the social sector programs. I think that is something which you people should appreciate and hope that it really works.
Girish, the finance minister has made a dog's breakfast out of this budget. Plain and simple. This is the worst budget we have seen in probably 40 years today, insofar as the social sector is concerned. There are massive cuts in spending. Massive. In fact, the overall reduction in social sector is by close to 30%. The myth that is being spread is that all of these cuts will be accommodated by the state governments. But if you look at the figures, and I hope I get a chance to explain the figures, if you look at the figures, the government of India is giving the states with one hand and snatching away revenue with 100 hands.
Explain that.
Now let me explain that very quickly. Now the increase in state share, this 10%, means that from 3.82 lakh crores, which states got last year, they would get 5.23 lakh crores in the subsequent years. Which is, and if you look at the non-planned grants, all of that.
Not subsequent years,
next year. Next year.
Yeah. Next financial.
But the expenditure of Government of India, which is the central assistance, is declining sharply from 3.3 lakh crore to 1.96 lakh crores.
No, so that is the whole idea.
But
the whole idea of that.
Therefore, Girish, let me complete.
Let
me complete. But this increased devolution means that states have only 49,000 crores, which is just 0.33% additional, which is not enough to cover. Let me go through the cuts. National Food Security Act, 1.22 lakh crores, going up to 1.24 lakh crores, just 2,000 crores, with only 11 states having implemented the act, which means no intention to implement the act. Maternity benefit scheme.
If more states implement the act, then actually...
Of course, this means that you are not provisioning even for a higher minimum support price to the farmers. Number two, ICDS, budget cut of 50%. Midday meals, budget cut of 22%. Education overall, budget cut of 26%. Health, budget cut of 26%. It's shocking. I mean, health, I hope we get to discuss that later in the program. The biggest shocker is in health. Now, if a government says that it is not going to invest in healthcare and in education or in employment schemes, then what are we talking about? This is not a budget for the 90%.
Would you like to react?
Last point, Girish. Even where, now take wealth tax. Now they're saying we abolished wealth tax because it was inefficient. But the fact of the matter is that the cost of collecting wealth tax, which is rupees 9 in 2001 to 59 in 2054 in 2001 to, has come down to rupees 9 in the current year. Now what is the government saying? Oh, we will put an additional surcharge which will give us the money. But Girish, that money is not divisible with the states. That money is going to go directly only to the centre.
And he says
because it is not a part of the divisible revenue.
He says that he will collect more than about 9,000 crores from that. Mohan?
Look, 49,000 crores extra is not small change. It's big money, okay? One. Two, states have to pick up the responsibility of spending also and collecting money. Now, if states spend 95% on an average of their collections on salaries and other expenses and have very little left, then it calls for better financial management in the states. After all, states are as big as countries, and they have to start functioning responsibly. States, you can't keep throwing away money all the time on this and that, You have to also collect money and spend it on people properly. Now, this is saying that you give me the money and I spend it any way you want. That regime has to end, irrespective of whether it's BJP or Congress.
No, but what is your reaction to the kind of cuts which Biraj was talking?
I'm saying that money has gone to the states.
No, money has gone.
He has not. He says 49,000 crores additional has come, but there has been cut in Delhi. Of course, there's been cut in Delhi.
You have cut 1,96,000 crores and given 49,000.
No. You are misrepresenting the whole thing.
Okay.
The states have got additional 49,000 crores. Period.
May I just come in at this point on the numbers?
Yes.
See, this is a table which was prepared yesterday by this organization called Center for Budget and Governance Accountability. And apart from that, you have a number of estimates. Govinda Rao, Jyoti is not a part of that. Then Sudipto Mandal, etc. They are giving different figures, but let me just give you the what is the state according to all these estimates. Now, if you look at state share of taxes and duties because of 14th Finance Commission recommendation, which has been accepted, that certainly has increased. There is no question about that. If
that
you
has
look
increased from 38,
3,82,216 to 5,23,958 crores, right? If you look at CA2 states, that has gone down from 3,29,712 crores to 1,95,778, right? And then there are some.
This is the central assistance.
Yes. These are central assistance. It's assumed that, central assistance plus a few other things. Normal central assistance, special plan assistance, special central assistance, and additional central assistance. All these have been reduced or squeezed, right? In sum, if you look at...
One second.
Yes.
Let us get 3,82,000 crores to 5,23,000 crores is the state's share of taxes and duties.
Yes.
Which means that there is a 1,40,000 crores or
increase there, right? But here, the decline is from 3,29,712 to 1,95,778 crores.
That is about 1,35,000
Right, but these are the major things. In addition to that, as I mentioned, there are three other heads due to which there is a squeeze, right? So, Mandal in fact tells you that there is actually a minor decline in terms of absolute amount. That is the figure which has been arrived at by Professor Sudipto Mandal, right? Govinda Rao, at the time of when these recommendations were made, at that point itself was saying, please do not assume that transfers from the center to states has increased. It has increased only under one head, and there certainly there is autonomy which needs to be welcomed. All of us welcome that. There is no question about it. If you look at the total union resources transferred to states as a percentage of GDP, Girish, and that is a very important figure, that has come down from 6.2 in 2014-15 to 5.9 in the next year.
Yes.
Now, if that be the case, then in fact the decline would be even sharper.
And Girish, can I add just one more point? What is not
compared to GDP? You don't know what was spent this year. You don't know what was spent this year. You don't know what was spent this year. This year there were huge slashes.
Girish,
I'll give you figures for spending also.
Yes.
But on this,
let me also tell you.
First point, I think the point which I think you have raised, which is very important, on which there is so much of myth making yesterday and day before. Basically, what we are saying is that on this, there is no question that on the whole, whichever way you measure it, and these are members of the Finance Commission and other estimates, etc. Everybody is telling you that in real terms, as a proportion of GDP, this has gone down.
Girish, can I just say one more point?
I need to get Badarinath in
just one point before you get there, is that for 24 schemes, for 24 centrally sponsored schemes from next year onwards, Government of India is not going to cover the revenue expenditure, which means if it is the ICDS, the National Health Mission, some of the most important social sector schemes,
we have a list
all the salaries, everything is going to come from the state.
From the states. Badri, what was the philosophy behind this? And you think that that there was some kind of a miscalculation in doing this, or if there is a very clear approach towards how they have gone about this whole thing as far as social sector is concerned?
I have a point of view on these two gentlemen who are talking about, the transfers which have reduced in a big way to the states. But I beg to differ with them.
Total transfers. They're not talking of...
We're talking about net transfers.
Net transfers.
Net plan.
Net transfers, if you take...
the net transfers I'm talking about, if you take the planned transfers that have been projected in the budget, it is as much as last year's 4,37,000 crores.
One second. Let him finish, Praveen.
Secondly, it does not include any of the other grants or under the other heads that you are going to transfer to the states. And if you take all that into consideration, almost 62% of the whole, tag...
that is what the finance minister told us on the budget day also. That total will be 62%. How do you explain that, Badri?
62%?
Yes.
Yes, for the simple reason that the 42% is what they talk about the divisive pool, the central pool of taxes that is going to the states.
Right.
The second part, I guess, this itself will bring in about 2 lakh crores more to the states.
No.
And second is that the grants and other transfers that take is over and above this. And henceforth, what the finance minister said the other day after the post-budget press conference is the total transfers will be to the tune of 62%.
That 62% is something...
it was, sorry, may I say?
Yes.
You know, Arvind Subramaniam, in fact, day before, had said that if we take last 3 years average, it was 64%, right, of the total transfers. He's including everything there, okay? It may go up to 65%. The finance minister is saying that it will be 62%.
Which is lower than what you had earlier.
Just look at these numbers.
This is the confusion.
Yeah? No. There's no confusion. Listen.
That 62% figure, how did you come at?
No.
In fact, the chart which he's talking about includes all that.
I'll tell you.
You want to add something?
I'll tell you why.
1 second, let him finish. Yeah.
The 62% that was explained very clearly by Arvind Subramaniam, Chief Economic Advisor, during the post-economic survey briefing, where he talks about 42% plus the grants and other transfers that take place over and above the tax devolutions.
Okay. Yes, sir.
The emphasis here is that higher spending on capital expenditure. 72,000 crores straight away on infrastructure. 55,000 crores on small farmers and small businessmen. You know, this is 1,20,000. You look at it this way, the emphasis is shifting. I agree that, some of the grants, don't shake your heads before letting me complete. Yeah. Okay? But those are correct figures. They're in your budget. So, so there is...
Correct figures in the budget.
That is from the budget, stated.
Okay.
And therefore, that money has to come from somewhere. You can't say that, I've said in the beginning, that there's a directional change. If you don't have capital expenditure, you won't have growth. If you won't have growth, you won't have more revenues.
Okay,
if you don't have revenues,
one second.
On this, let
him basic philosophical thing here.
Yeah.
No, this basic philosophy which you... No, in fact, I'm trying to look at if there is a basic philosophical change, if there is a philosophical vision. That's what I'm trying to understand.
The big bang didn't take place.
Yes.
A massive slash of subsidies. They got a reduction in subsidies.
Subsidies, they have not touched as much as they
as
was
everybody
expected.
has the purest one,
Yes.
which is a good thing.
Can I just
but
Okay, now the total expenditure of the union government, budget estimates, it has come down from 94,892 crores to 17,77,477 crores, of which the reduced plan expenditure is of a magnitude of 1,09,723 crores. Right? So much about the plan expenditure.
So, you're going to get money from
air? No. Money wherever you get it from. Let's not...
You're opposed to FDI.
Mohan,
you're opposed to everything.
No, we're not opposed to it. No, we're not opposed to it.
Mohan, let
us not get ideological.
Let me just... It's not a question of getting ideological. We are focusing today on social sector.
So let's come back.
We should come back to that because
even by their own logic, if you see 2/3 of our revenue today is collected through, which is 17% of GDP, is collected through indirect taxes. Only 1/3 is collected through direct taxes. Now, in this present budget, if there was a great change in direction as is being spoken about, we should have gone in for more collection of direct taxes, but you're not. Your tax GDP ratio is projected to increase from 10.3% in 15-16 to 9.9%. But it's lower than what we had achieved earlier in 2007-8, which was 11.9%. Now, what kind of progressive taxation is this?
That is a fact.
Is going down.
That is a fact.
Brazil, South Africa, China, all of the
For heaven's sake, I'm not the spokesman for the government. I don't have to defend anything for the government.
That is not the point.
That is not. Don't look at me and say it has gone down. It has gone down. I'm unhappy about it. I think the business of government is to collect more taxes, and these people have failed. But I'm also saying that there is a directional shift, which we have to recognize. But you can't say that everything the government done is going to be ascribed at my doorstep.
Tell me, in terms of social sector expenditure, what is the directional shift that you see?
I think the social sector expenditure is the massive loot.
It's a massive loot.
Massive loot. Okay. Massive loot because section officers love it.
No, is that the philosophy?
I'm just saying ineffectiveness of the government is shown by that. And they have not decentralized. If they decentralize, you can justify social sector increases because you can see that people have a right on the money.
The whole idea...
People don't have right on the money.
The whole idea...
One second,
Praveen.
You need that full shift.
1 second. Biraj, the whole idea of shifting... increasing the allocations as far as tax revenues are concerned to the states and shifting some of these schemes to the states, is that the states will become more responsible. One second thing, they are being given untied funds so they have the flexibility to decide what they want to do. So to that extent, Biraj, I think the states will have to take responsibility.
No, but Girish, let me give you one example. Now, if you say the social sector, let us take a sector. Let's not talk generally. Now, if you take the healthcare budget, you are having a reduction from 39,000 to 237 crores to 33,152 crores in allocation, right?
Right.
Which is, and if you look at the National Health Mission, the cut is even worse. It's 25%. 24,491 crores down to 18,295 crores,
right,
which is 25%. What does it actually mean? I don't care what the government thinks of the social sector policies or what they declared, what was declared by the UPA. I am just looking at what is the national health policy which was released by this government just 2 months ago, which was approved by this government. There, they are talking about a per capita expenditure of health, if you take 2.5% of GDP, of 3,800 crores. What is the increase here? The per capita spending, instead of being 3,800 crores, is just 3,800 rupees per capita, is just 270 rupees per capita. Number one. Number two, if you look at the CGHS, per capita expenditure in the CGHS, which is government's own employees, is 7,000 rupees per capita, compared to 2,280 rupees per capita for the Aam Aadmi. What is the justification for this?
You know what the wage bill of the government is, central and state government? It's almost 2.5 lakh crores a year. Nobody protests about that.
So what is that?
No, there is no decentralization.
What is the correction?
No, there's no correction there because there's no decentralization. At the local level, only 10% of the wage bill goes there.
Girish, if you look at
Mohan, one second, Biraj.
The point is, Girish, that you cannot see these figures in isolation. You got to see it with the state appropriations on this and total it and see how the national health spending has gone up or come down.
Okay.
We don't know.
We have the figures for that.
Those figures are also there, actually.
Have the figures.
But let me get Badri, philosophy, let us talk of philosophy. The philosophy of this government as far as social sector programs are concerned. What is the philosophy? Mohan is one of those who has been consistent in this, saying that most of the social sector programs are a loot. You think that is the way things are looked at? And when they talk of JAM, are they trying to fix it?
No, see, the question of JAM, as Arvind Subramaniam had talked about in his economic survey, is taking money directly, whatever benefits have to be given directly to the people's accounts.
Right.
Use mobile telephony as well as Aadhaar cards to plug the leakages.
So where are they doing it?
I don't agree with the contention that either subsidies have been reduced or social sector spending has been cut drastically, or saying that the per capita spending has come down. That is not what the philosophy.
No, 1 second.
Where are the numbers?
No, 1
How
second.
much are you transferring to an account?
No,
in this budget? Please,
Praveen, one thing which is striking even for a layman like me is that we'll have to look at, because of this 14th Finance Commission, a lot of schemes are supposed to be shifted to the states, right? And so one of the schemes which is not going to be shifted to the state and which will be controlled by the center itself is the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, if I am not wrong, right?
Yes.
Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan.
Yes.
Now, the kind of cut which has been imposed on Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, because here they have no excuse saying that it has been transferred to the states. From 28,258 crores
to 22,000.
Which was RE.
Bringing down to 2,000.
No, this was the B. This was 22,000 crores.
Was it the previous year's budget estimates or the actual expenditure?
This was the budget estimate. This was the budget estimate.
Already the cut has taken place.
But already a cut has taken place, so that makes it even worse.
So it would make it even worse.
No, it will probably be an improvement on the cut. It will be probably a 10% increment on the actual spending.
This is like a discount at a Lajpat Nagar store, increase the price by 100 rupees and then give a discount of 70 rupees.
Yes, but you are totally wrong.
Badri, you are something to say.
Resort to analogy is the weakness of logic.
No.
Okay.
Listen, can I...
Yeah,
on
please.
this, apart from Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan, midday meal scheme and a whole lot of schemes, if you simply look at Department of School Education and Literacy, where you have almost 12 items, major heads, it is coming down from 54,101 crore to 40,757 crores.
Because the money has gone to the state.
No. You see, this is where, Mohan, you are continuously...
Not all of them.
No, all of it is... the deficit has gone to the state.
This is not a state-sponsored scheme. No. This is going to be controlled.
Yes,
Badri. It has to be implemented by the state.
One second. Yes, Badri.
There are 2 points only, limited points I would like to make. One is, for example, for Manrega, the Mahatma Gandhi Rural Job Scheme. This is the highest allocation made in the last so many years of even UPA did not make so much money that is being allocated. And the finance minister, if I have heard him properly, he said he will be willing to allocate another 5,000 crores.
To provide the tax buoyancy is there. He's talking of tax buoyancy. Let us not
the second point I would like to make is many of the projects and schemes have been transferred to the states.
But obviously, we are talking about the schemes which have not been transferred to the states.
One second. In the central pool.
One second.
Abhiyan has not been transferred to the states.
One second. Biraj, let us get this clear. At least for the viewers, let us get this clear. There are 24 schemes which have been transferred to the states.
And there are
24 schemes, but there are 31 schemes which continue with the center.
Absolutely.
And there are 8 schemes which have been completely
which will be funded by the center.
Yeah. One of them is the backward regions grants funds, and there are others. Now, what I'm saying is, we are not, because the minute we touch on the schemes which have been transferred to states, that justification is there that the states will be getting more money.
But what about Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, which is not being transferred to the state?
Midday meal, Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, Central Special Assistance to Central Tribal Subplan,
yes.
SCs plan, SC plan, all these continue with the center and there has been a cut. That is where the problem lies.
Plan has gone up by 30,000 crores on the provision of agriculture. And small irrigation. Girish, mainly for tribal and
Girish, let me
National Nutrition Mission, for instance.
You see, National Nutrition Mission, or whatever. Now, I'm just going back to health. I'm saying forget what the past did. The vision of setting up 10 regional aims. Now, for the Delhi aims, the budget is 1,470 crores. For the other 10 aims, all put together, it's 1,756 crores.
I think
which is
in 1 year, 1,756 crores, whether they'll be able to absorb is also a question.
Girish,
I think to make a proper analysis, I think to make a proper analysis, you need 2 more sets of figures. One is what was spent actually this year, which will come out in another month's time. And then what are the states going to spend?
Most of the figures
are already there.
Their budget, they've not rolled in.
Most figures are there.
Exactly.
Most figures are there.
Actual spending, even till month of March, there'll be cuts. Actual will come in April, end of April.
So anyway, Biraj,
I think only then you can make a
very quick, Praveen and Biraj, very quick final words to you. But as Mohan says, maybe a little later, understanding the way the states will get this, allocations, how the states, so that the states will now have the onus and responsibility to carry forward some of the schemes and fund some of the schemes also.
See, the state obviously now have greater onus and responsibility. That is the philosophy question that you were asking. The problem really is that if you look at the total transfers from the center to the states, that has not increased. There is a problem.
There's a very limited...
Yes. See, Girish, I think this budget will clearly go down as one of the most anti-poor budgets we have seen in decades. Anti-Dalit, anti-tribal, anti-farmer, anti-agri-labor, pro-corporates, pro-Adani and pro-Ambani.
Okay, I think on that note, we need to end. Mohan Guruswamy is frowning, but I'm sure we'll have another chance to discuss in detail some of the other aspects of the budget. Thanks to all my guests. Please keep watching. We'll come back with another issue, the big picture, same time tomorrow.